Paul Jones, a 0-1. Jesse Smith, the beat 2. Bobby Bills and Nick Link on a rolla. And we got troubles right off the start. One on around in the bottom of turn number 1. Easy does it, yellow, yellow. Adam Evans on the stick. 20 laps, here we go. Rollator down to the inside. Here comes Waddle up on the outside. Here comes Montevideo, Minnesota's 23 at Gilbertson. Gilbertson in that white. It's a big 2, little 3 on it. Scotty Brown up on the outside. Works it there. Top 3 go to the show. The rest are home. Kyle Rollator out of Wakini up there. Now look at this. Here comes Wadle down to the inside. Trying to get a move on him. Can't make it happen. Now you'll see Gilbertson. Wadle's gonna pinch her down to the bottom side, trying to dig on the moisture. Can't get it done. Rollator your leader. Wadle running second. Gilbertson and Brown top 4. Stryker working it down there on the inside in that 19 car. You'll see that spot go away from him as Rollator rolling on into turn number 3 and 4. He's your leader. 3 in, 17 to go. Rollator, Wadle, and Gilbertson. Now look at this. Here comes Kevin Gray out of Ulysses. He'll look to that blue and yellow 16 down to the bottom side. Scotty Brown to the outside. Off of turn 4. Here's your battle for a non-transfer, but one closer to the front is it'll be Kevin Gray now in the 4th spot. Gray still tucking it down to the bottom. To the outside goes Scotty Brown off of 2. Gray will now solidify that 4th spot. Meanwhile, out front, cracking a whip on it. Rollator, your leader in an AMSOIL Zero machine. Wadle running second. Gilbertson third. Scotty Brown's now got company from the 19 machine as they work on down into turn number 1 and 2. Brown down to the bottom side. Chuck Stryker there. Stryker working. So it'll be battle for 5, 6, and 7. Meanwhile, back up front, Rollator. Out front, walking a dog on this one. Gilbertson will look to the bottom side. Here's your battle for second, Gilbertson. Downstairs, looking for that 2 spot. He's got Wadle up on the outside. Wadle on the outside out of Garden City. Montevideo, Minnesota native Gilbertson working back to the bottom side one more time. Here's your battle for the runner-up spot. Wadle working midsection. Gilbertson found the moisture on the bottom. Starting to click him off about 1/10 of a second every lap. He'll get him into turn number 3. 1. Off of 2 and out of back straightaway. Wadle with a lot of forward bite, able to catch the cushion down into turn number 3. We are gonna be 9 down, 11 to go. The battle is for second on the Speedway. Wadle's got it. Gilbertson is looking to steal it away. Ten in, 10 out. We're halfway home. Rollator, your leader. Second is Wadle, but he is being flanked and stalked by Matt Gilbertson in that 23 car. Down there trying to apply some persuasion and make it happen. He'll show him the numbers down the back straightaway. Here we go, Gilbertson gets to the first in turn number 3. Gilbertson will see that 80 of white. He'll slide on up the racetrack. Gilbertson down on the bottom. Looking, Wadle is hot on the outside. Down into turn number 1 and 2. Wadle still working the outside of the Speedway. Gilbertson down on the tires like a catfish feeding on the bottom of the river. He's loving it. Down into turn 3 they'll go. Wadle is flanked to the left side. To the right side, he sees him. That is Gilbertson. Downstairs, they'll charge once again, and Wadle by a bumper, still in that 2 spot. You've got it there for second. Now look at back here in the 4th spot. They'll gaggle on up there. Things will quiet down up front. Gilbertson will go to the tire tracks of Wadle. Now the 19 of Chuck Stryker out of Eddyville has moved into the top 4, and Gilbert is being very persistent on the bottom for second. Focus your eyes to turn number 4. Here's a 4-car race. Not for a transfer spot, but if something would happen, they could be there. Kyle Roletter, still your race leader, has got a straightaway advantage over Mike Wadle and the 23 of Matt Gilbertson. Still out front, Kyle Roletter out of Wakini in that 0 machine. Wadle running second, Gilbertson on the bottom side. Now you see it. He is comfortable sitting right there in third. Wonder if he's got anything for him or he's just gonna hang tight, leave it in the show. Roletter getting aggressive with the lap traffic down there, working on him. Paul Jones out of Casper, Wyoming, getting around him now, as he'll put a little persuasion on that rear bumper to bump him up out of the way, let him know that he has got places to go and people to see. A lot of sparks off that 18 of Paul Jones, as he now sits behind your race leader in lap traffic. Stryker gonna work on the 19 and the 16, Kevin Gray. And Stryker work off a turn 4 side by side. This race just 5 cars in front of your race leader. They're working wheel to wheel. Laps winding on down, about a handful left in this one. Stryker and Gray are side by side off a 2 and down the backside of the Speedway. Off of 4, white flag out. Kyle Roletter sees it, first to it. And now it is a long way back until right now. Mike Wadle in second sees it, Gilbertson third. Off of turn 4, checkered flag coming out for Kyle Roletter out of Wakini. And now we'll wait. Wadle will come across the line in second. Third will go to Matt Gilbertson. Matt Gilbertson there in the 3rd spot. Mike Wadle in second and picking up the win. Kyle Roletter in the 0. 4 and off of turn 4. Grabowski into Foya. Drop the throttles and here we go. Down into turn 1 and 2, they'll race him off a 2 and out of back straightaway. Grabowski, your leader. Grabowski out front to Foya running second. Lagrune. Now Rob Day gonna put some persuasion on the back bumper and try to come to the inside. Lagrune. Then you see the 16 of Jeremy Zorn out of Russell. He'll work his hat to the ring. 3 the magic number. You gotta be 3, 2, or 1 to go. 4 on back, you're out of the show. Day gonna show him the numbers to the inside. Day to the bottom side. Here comes the 16 of Zorn. Zorn, Day, and now look at that. They're gonna shuffle Lagrune to the outside. Day's in the show in the 3rd spot. A lot of racing left in this one. You gotta be easy on him. Got one up there, Alex Albin up off the top of turn 4, and the yellow is out. Caution out, Alex Albin out of Gove, Kansas, the 3LX. Happens on a restart. Here we go, looking for the green, throw it to the wind, and we are back underway. Grabowski out front, showing away. Then you see the second to Foya. Here we go, 3 cars off of turn number 2, looking for that 3rd spot. To the outside goes Zorn. Zorn on the outside, Day on the bottom side. Here comes Lagrune. They're gonna try to gobble up that 24 of Tafoya. They'll race on down into turn number 1. Grabowski, your leader. Tafoya, Day, and that 16 of Zorn to the outside. Oh my, here you go. Day on the bottom, looking to put Zorn back in a 4th spot. They'll race past the Tiki Hut off of turn 4 down the boulevard in front of the grandstands. It's the 30 of Grabowski, your leader. Battle for 3rds at Jim Dandy. Off of turn 2, that'll be Day to the bottom side. To the outside goes that 16 of Zorn. Zorn and Day side by side. 2 out looking in. It's Corey Lagrune in the deuce 4. Down to the bottom of turn 3 and 4. It's still that 7 of Daly trying to make it work. Day down on the bottom side. To the outside goes that 16 of Zorn. They are locked up like a pair of cage fighters in the octagon on a Saturday night. off of 2. Grabowski starting to wheel that 30 machine, let the wick turn up, the kite string hang way out. Tafoya running second. He'd like to make that 14-hour trip home knowing tonight that he put her in the show. The native out of Russell, Jeremy Zorn, sits comfortably in third now. Calhoun and Solberg will battle side by side. That race for a non-transfer position back in 7th and 8th. Calhoun in the blue, white, and red 43 moves that old Mopar-powered machine up into the top 6 now. It's still Grabowski, your leader. Here we go for the transfer again. Time to heat it up. Day down on the bottom side of that 7 car. Bob Day out of Waukene working the Russell, Kansas driver. Jeremy Zorn in the 1-6. Oh my goodness, we're cautioned. 7 and 13 to go. 7 come 11. Add a couple to it, and we've got 20. Off of 4. Green is in the air, and here we go. Grabowski right back up Grabo. Looking at that lead now, Tafoya. Tafoya starting to size him up down on the inside. Tafoya on the bottom, looking for that moisture. Off of turn number 2, he'll find it. He'll stay down on the bottom. Tafoya's got to run. Tafoya gonna work on the 30 of Grabowski. You got 9 in, 11 to go. Grabowski, Tafoya, the 16 of Zorn. Jordan Grabowski, the hot shoe out of Beatrice, Nebraska. Works that top line to the bottom side. The veteran out of New Mexico, Regan Tafoya, trying to capitalize on running the bottom. Little bit of moisture left down there, trying to hook them left tires on it. Grabowski will come across the nose. Grabowski now pulls in by 3 car lengths down into turn 3. Here is where Tafoya is good, right there, but that time the car got awful tight. He'll pinch it down, find the moisture, try to hook it up, but Grabowski quicker on the outside with the crate. Corey Lagrune calling it a night. He's up off the racetrack. 1 out looking in. It's still that Rob Day 7 machine out of Waukene. He'd like to get around that 16 of Zorn. Oh, he'd like to keep her straight, wag the tail on that red, white, and black 7 car. He'll lose a couple car lengths to that transfer spot. Hustle on down the back straightaway. Laps winding down in this one. Grabowski, look at Day now. He's got to run. He'll punch it to the bottom side. Oh, he drove her in too deep. Can't pinch her hard enough to the bottom. She was loose right through the middle. Down into turn number 1 and 2. Day is getting aggressive. He is trying to make it happen. Off of 2 and out of back straightaway. We are yellow on a racetrack. Car around in turn number 4. Got something for that 16 car. Off of 4, 7-lap shootout. It is green and we're racing. Look at this, Tafoya's got company. Now Day will try to pitch it to the outside. Here comes Zorn. Zorn to the outside of Tafoya. Tafoya will rock the throttle and work it down to the bottom side of turn 3. Day with a mean run to the back bumper of that 16 machine. Now they bobble, zig the tail, here we go. Day is right there ready to pounce like a Cheshire cat on that 16 of Jeremy Zorn. Meanwhile, up front, Grabowski, no stranger to driving away from Tafoya as he has done for the last 14 laps. As we'll come with 15 in and 5 to go. Grabowski, Tafoya, and Zorn, your top 4. Tafoya trying to size and put his eyes on the prize, but he is sitting right there on the bottom side. Trying to make the magic happen off of 2. He'll still see them 3 car lengths between himself and Jordan Grabowski. Day right now in the 7 looks like he is starting to unreel the string on catching that 16 car. As the laps will wind down, 3 left in this one. Grabowski starting to work higher up the speedway. Tafoya now. Tafoya starting to close. He's been closer on in these last 2 laps than he has any other time of the race. Grabowski, though, is dangerously quick off of 2. Tafoya catches him. He'll drive it deep in the bottom, pinch it down on the bottom side, try to hit that moisture. White flag is out, 3/8 of a mile left in this one. Working off of turn number 2, down into 3. Here we go. Looking for checkered flag. 3 more to go. It'll be Grabo. Tafoya tried. Too little, too late. Grabowski. Tafoya and the 16 of Jeremy Zorn. Gonna bring him off of turn number 4. Evans looks at him. The green comes out, and here we go. On into turn number 1 and 2, Gamble and the 62 of Marriott working it wheel to wheel. Jerry Phillips works it there. Look at this, 3 wide. Here comes the driver out of Williston. Hagen is on the move. That 14T machine. He'll make her 3 wide, punch the rump down the bottom side. Jerry Phillips right there in that 3rd and final transfer spot. Here comes that 4-147 of Jack Sertain out of Terrell, Texas. The Texas native hustles on down to the bottom side. Give him the 3 spot. Up the 3rd into the show. Here comes that 14T of Travis Hagen. Hagen trying to make some action happen right down there on the tires. Your battle will shape up for 3rd as it is. The 147 of Jack Sertain out of Terrell, Texas in that 3rd and final transfer spot. They'll race on past. It's Phillips in 5th. And 6th is Hagen. Phillips working the outside. Here comes the 14T of Travis Hagen out of Williston, North Dakota. Meanwhile, up front, the driver out of Ponca City, Oklahoma, Brandon Gamble. Gamble still your race leader, Hunter Marriott 2nd. Now look at this, here we go, shape it up for that race lead. Hunter Marriott had a charge to the bottom side of Gamble. Off of 2, they take him. Gamble right down through the midsection. Hunter Marriott trying to race the bottom side. The 147 of Jack Sertain out of Texas sitting in that 3rd and final transfer spot. Hunter Marriott working it there on Brandon Gamble. Gamble and Marriott work it. Now you see it. Off with 2 and on the back straightaway. Gamble to the outside. Marriott onto the bottom. Hustle those hot rods, the ground pounders down into 3. Now Marriott gonna show him the numbers on the bottom side. They'll work it off at turn number 4. Gamble and Marriott racing for the lead. Hunter Marriott now going to sneak it to the outside. Brandon Gamble stays on the bottom. Marriott tight off of 2. Now Gamble will make some advantage and work it into turn number 3. We are 9 down, 11 to go. Brandon Gamble, your leader. Hunter Marriott looking. Now the battle for 4th, the 1 out transfer spot. Phillips is up on the outside. Here comes to the bottom. That driver out of Williston, the 14T of Travis Hagen. Hagen on the bottom side, the yellow and white with the orange 14. To the outside is Phillips, the veteran. They'll wheel them side by side on down into turn number 3. Phillips on the outside, Hagen on the bottom. Remember, this is for a non-transferable spot, but you gotta try to be there in case something happens to the top 3. Down the back side of the speedway, they're still locking horns. Now you see the 14T of Travis Hagen moves on in. He'll solidify that 4th spot, but not for long though, as here goes the 66 of Phillips back upstairs. Meanwhile, back up front, the Hacienda, look at this. Everything's still staying the same. Gemmel owns the property. Hunter Marriott trying to find the real estate to get it away from him. Marriott now to the outside. Here we go for the lead. Gemmel, though, look at the drive off of 2, though. Puts 3 car lengths on him by the time they get to turn 3. Marriott down there on the outside. To the inside is Gemmel. Gemmel and Marriott wheel those hot rods ever so gingerly off the slick off turn number 2. Marriott stayed committed to the outside. If you're going to get him, you got to go where they ain't. Can't follow the tire tracks. Got to try to get around him. Now Hunter Marriott, look at there. He's got him by a bumper at the starter stand. Hunter Marriott, the tires, the wheels have come to life, and he's looking for the lead. Marriott down to the outside. Brandon Gemmel says, not so quick. He'll drive it off of 2. Hard to the bottom side of turn 3. Lap traffic up and coming. Marriott still up on the outside. Gemmel on the bottom. Who's it going to be this time at the stripe? It'll be Brandon Gemmel by half a car length. Oh, they'll get together. They'll trade a little paint, swap some tires off of 2. Marriott, they're getting aggressive for the lead. Hunter Marriott knows there's a lap car right up there in front of him, knows he's got a handful of laps to get him. Marriott still trying to chase down Brandon Gemmel. Cody Blessing out of Kearney, Nebraska. The first lap car coming to your race leader, Brandon Gemmel. Gemmel's got to size him up. Marriott's got to hope that he don't come down on top of him. Here he comes. Watch this. Marriott had to go to the tire tracks. Had to follow Gemmel. Now he'll go to the bottom side. He'll try to steal Gemmel's line. Gemmel will shut the door to the party. Not going to happen. You see him off of 2 and out of back straightaway. It's still Gemmel out front. Marriott charging right to the deck lid. Marriott now has got to find his rhythm, get back on the top side, get them tires eating where they were before. But you've got 2 laps to go. Brandon Gemmel, Hunter Marriott down the back straightaway. Now it'll be Cody Blessing slow on the Speedway. He'll lift that machine up into the pit area. Off of turn 4, the white flag is in the air and 1 lap to go. Brandon Gemmel, that G3 machine. Gemmel and Marriott 1 and 2. It is a long way back, almost. Well, it is a half a track back to 3rd to Jack Sartain out of Texas in the 147. Off of 4 checkers for Brandon Gemmel in the G3. Right there with a long pause as they had a half a track lead on him. 147 Jack Sartain, Terrell, Texas. Brookfield, Missouri's Hunter Marriott is 2nd, and the winner, the G3 of Brandon Gemmel out of Ponca City, Oklahoma Central. I owe him $100 now. I probably did that. Nice job. All right, here we go. Off of 4, here we go. Jesse Taylor out of Fort Morgan, Colorado. Watching at home on Dirt Track Central out there. You see him, he's got that top spot. Ronnie Hill running in the 2nd spot. Peter Silly, now here comes Gustus. Gustus working the back bumper, that 41. He'll show him a little bit of persuasion. Peter Silly up on the outside, using that front bumper. Persuading that 41 car to come up off the bars and let him get on around. He knows 3rd is good, but isn't good enough. Field to work on down into turn number 3 and 4. It is the 05 of Jesse Taylor out of Fort Morgan, Colorado. Your leader, now to be a 3-car fight for 2nd. Peter Silly got the old red rocket wound up, showing it to the 2 spot. Now Gustus. Gustus out of Colorado moves on into that 3rd spot. He's looking to Peter Silly for 2nd. Peter Silly up on the outside. Gustus down on the bottom side. Here's your battle for the 2nd spot. Off with 2 and down the back straightaway. It is Taylor, your leader. Now look at this. Gustus off like shot from a cannon down the back straightaway. He'll move that 14 car underneath Peter Silly. Peter Silly sees him go back to the 3rd spot. Hill, 1 out looking in, knows that he's got to get on the bike and ride. Out front it is Taylor out of Fort Morgan, your race leader. Gustus running 2nd, Peter Silly in 3rd. Off a 2 down the back straightaway. It'll be the 05 of Jesse Taylor out of Fort Morgan. He's your leader. Gustus running 2nd, then it is Peter Silly. Taylor, your leader. Gustus running 2nd. They run on down the boulevard. Everything staying the same up on the front half of the field. Hill, Roger Peck out of Minneapolis sits there in the 5th spot. 6 is at 21. B21 of Chad Brown. This time at the starter stand, we've got 9 in and 11 to go. Halfway home, 10 in, 10 out. Taylor, Gustus, 1 and 2. 3rd is Peter Silly. They'll pull away from him. Down the backside, it is still that 05 of Taylor. Your leader, Gustus running 2nd, Peter Silly 3rd. Cracking the whip, putting the spurs to it out front, that is your leader, the 05 of Jesse Taylor. Taylor shows the way. The 14 Augustus running 2nd, Peter Silly 3rd. Ronnie Hill sits in the 4th spot, laps winding down on your final qualifier. Field starting to keep things spread out as they hustle off of turn number 4. Laps winding down to this one. Taylor, Gustus, and Peter Silly, your top 3. Deuce to go this time. Couple trips on around the 3/8 power plant here in Hays, Kansas. Off of 4, white flag in the air for the 0-5. Taylor got it. Jesse Taylor out of Fort Morgan looking to come off of turn number 4. Fourth and final. Last chance qualifier going to Jesse Taylor. Second goes to Greg Gustus, and third to Mike Petersilly. So Mike Petersilly third, Greg Gustus in second, and that'll put Jesse Taylor. Those are your 3 cars